r/AskReddit. What is a true fact so baffling, it should be false? You can boil water in a paper cup over an open flame. I thought witchcraft was outlawed. The life of Frane Selleck, the luckiest unlucky man in the world. January 1962, Frane is riding on a train through a freezing canyon when it fell into an icy river. All 17 other passengers died while he escapes with a broken arm and hypothermia. 1963, on his first plane trip he was sucked out of the plane's door and landed in a haystack. Unscathed, 19 other people were killed in the crash. 1966, he was riding in a bus when it skidded off the road into yet another icy river. 4 passengers drowned while he only received some minor cuts and bruises. 1970, his car's engine burst into flames while he was driving, but he managed to escape before it exploded. 1973, in yet another driving incident, his car's engine was doused with hot oil from a broken fuel pump. This caused flames to shoot through the air vents, singing off all of his hair. He was otherwise unharmed. 1995, he was hit by a bus, but only sustained minor injuries. 1996, to escape a head-on collision with a United Nations truck on a mountain curve, he swerved into a guardrail that broke on impact to save himself. He jumped out of his car's open door and grabbed onto a tree branch as he watched his car plummet off the cliff. Suffice to say the guy had a complicated relationship with the Grim Reaper. Edit, got his name wrong. Edit 2, got the first edit wrong. Turns out I was right the first time. He also won the lottery, I think. There are far more tigers in private collections in Texas than there are in the rest of the world, wild or otherwise. Cheetahs can't roar, but they can meow like house cats. People were deliberately infected with malaria to cure their syphilis, and the man who developed this treatment, Julius Werner Jauregg, received the Nobel Prize for it. The extremely high fevers of the malaria infections killed the syphilis bacteria, then the patients were cured of the malaria using quinine. Quinine is the reason tonic water glows under black light. Giraffe seat bones. Switzerland has accidentally invaded Liechtenstein thrice in the last 50 years. On the first time in 1976, Swiss military got lost and ended up in Liechtenstein, so the Liechtensteiners offered them drinks like proper hosts. On the second time in 1992, Swiss military forgot that a certain observation post was actually not in Swiss territory, but in Liechtenstein territory, so they just said sorry and forgot about it. Then again in 2007, the Swiss army got lost and entered Liechtenstein, but eventually realized they weren't in Switzerland anymore. Toto. So they turned back. Liechtenstein didn't even know this happened till the Swiss apologized again, to which they basically said, no problem, bro. Takeaways. The Swiss army are bad with directions. The Liechtenstein army people are chill brothers. You see your nose all the time, but your brain just ignoring it. Well, not anymore. Thanks. Inches. There are over 9 million variations after just 3 moves each, 288 billion different possible positions after 4 moves each. In a complete game there are more possible positions than there are electrons in the observable universe. It says fail rate is over 80%. I personally know someone who in his carry-on accidentally packed a loaded handgun, made it on the plane, and was so freaked out when he landed, he upsed it back home and took a Greyhound bus after his trip. More people died making the V2 rockets during WW2 than were killed by them. Another fun fact about V2 rockets. Germany was facing a large issue with rocket fuel shortages during the project because people kept drinking it. The fuel was made from 70% ethyl alcohol and 30% water, distilled from potatoes. It was the most economically viable fuel at the time, since they were already very low on other fuels. To stop workers from drinking it, they denatured the alcohol, essentially poisoning it, but people kept drinking it anyways, and getting extremely ill. This simply caused people to start leaving the V2 program, suggesting that they were only in it for the free alcohol. This also means that any alcohol over 70% ABV is stronger than actual WW2 rocket fuel. A million seconds ago was week before last, July 24th. A billion seconds ago was 1988. Only 4 people have been to the Challenger Deep, the deepest part of the ocean. One of those people is James Cameron, the director of Titanic. There is an extremely rare condition called stone man syndrome. It causes any smallest damage done to tissue to regrow into a bone. Speaking briefly, people affected by this sickness slowly turn into living statues as they get older. I saw a documentary on that once. One advanced sufferer had to explain to a young girl with the syndrome that at some point she was going to have to make a choice, be frozen forever standing up, or be frozen forever sitting down, and the pros and cons of both. Utterly chilling. Edit. I have managed to find the documentary and have time-stamped it to where her mother, not the kid herself, I misremembered, meets Robert Kinghorn, the man I mentioned. As of 2016 she was still going, aged 17, although the disease had progressed. Stalin, Hitler, and Freud all lived in Vienna at the same time. Edit. And as others have pointed out, including a source further down, Tito and Trotsky were also there. Imagine a sitcom with them all as roommates. Damn it, Stalin, stop eating my food. It is our food, Freud. I will stop eating it when you stop banging your mother. The longest time between two twins being born is 87 days. A 500-pound cigarette smoking, beer drinking brown bear named Wojtek was enlisted in and served in the Polish army during World War II. Private Wojtek helped the Polish win the brutal Battle of Mont Cassino and was even promoted to corporal. Following the war, he retired in Scotland. If you earned $1 every second, it would take 2,921 years to have more money than Bill Gates. It's okay, I think I'll survive earning $3,600 an hour. Edit. Thank you, kind stranger, for the silver. Edit 2. Since a lot of you are mentioning taxes and leap years, here's the math for you. A common year would net you $31,536,000 or $31,622,400 during a leap year. With these earnings, your US federal income tax bracket would be 37%. So a common year would give you $19,867,680 and a leap year $19,922,112. Taking taxes and leap years into account, we can determine that it would take you 10,434.8 years to reach Bill Gates' current 2019 net worth of $103.80 billion. When Mount Everest was first measured, it was exactly 29,000 feet. It was reported as 29,002 because exactly 29,000 was not believable. There were more planes destroyed in World War II than there are currently intact planes on Earth today. If sound could travel through space, the roar of the sun would be deafening, even though it's 93 miles away. Edit. Because space is a vacuum, sound can't travel though a vacuum. Edit again. Obviously lots of other things in the universe would change, and yes, presumably other stars and planets would make noise too. We'd probably all die screaming as the Earth itself imploded from the pressure of traveling so fast through a universe that wasn't a vacuum. Last edit. Yes, Jesus Christ, Rick and Morty, as hundreds of you have pointed out. The USA is the third most populated nation on Earth. If you were able to add 1 billion people to the US population today, it would still be the third most populated nation on Earth. Greenland extends east of, west of, south of and north of Iceland. Saddam Hussein was an erotic romance novelist in his spare time as the dictator of Iraq. Is that why his character is such a romantic in the South Park movie? Whale reproduction involves 3 whales, 2 to do the nasty, and 1 to keep them from sinking. Talk about third wheeling. If every single person on the entire planet took part in a rock paper scissors contest, where everyone paired up and played, losers were knocked out, and winners stayed on, etc., you would only have to win 33 times in a row to beat all 7.53 billion people on the planet. We live many times closer to the last dinosaur than the first and last dinosaur did to each other.